Inside Ferrari's Maranello headquarters, a quiet power struggle is brewing, one that could shape the team's trajectory well beyond the current season and into the pivotal 2026 regulation overhaul. While the paddock focused on the Hungarian Grand Prix weekend, deeper forces were shifting behind the scenes. At the heart of this brewing storm is Lewis Hamilton, seven-time world champion, and his quiet but unmistakably bold attempt to embed himself deep within the very foundation of Ferrari's technical operations. Just days before the Hungarian GP, Hamilton reportedly requested a personal meeting with Enrico Gualtieri, Ferrari's power unit technical director. This wasn't a courtesy call or introductory chat. It was deliberate, strategic. According to insiders, Hamilton approached the conversation not just as a driver looking for performance answers, but as a stakeholder demanding to understand and influence the power unit roadmap. In essence, Hamilton wasn't just asking questions. He was staking a claim to help shape the very DNA of Ferrari's 2026 powertrain direction. What triggered this assertive move? The seeds were sown at Spa, where Hamilton, starting from the pit lane, noticed unusual behavior from the car, specifically inconsistent torque delivery out of corners. He described it in technical terms as a drift and throw response, a dynamic that didn't match the simulator sessions. Privately, he told his engineer that the car felt filtered, a remark that never made it a broadcast but carried serious weight. It wasn't frustration. It was suspicion. Following the race, Hamilton reportedly spent hours combing through telemetry, comparing his data to that of teammate Charles Leclerc. Sources say he zeroed in on engine maps, energy deployment profiles, and a broader pattern. Differences that seemed too consistent to be coincidental. For Hamilton, the discovery wasn't just about marginal gains. It raised questions about Ferrari's internal systems, how updates are rolled out, who gets priority, and whether technical parity truly exists within the team. This was the catalyst for his direct request to Gualtieri. He wanted clarity, but more than that, he wanted influence. With the 2026 power unit reset looming large, Hamilton is already pushing to be part of the structural conversation, not just someone adapting to changes, but someone helping define them. Leclerc's reaction to all of this has been telling. When asked about Hamilton's growing involvement, he simply smiled and said, "It's normal." But those who know him saw something else in that moment, a boundary being drawn. Leclerc has been Ferrari's golden child for years, groomed from junior categories, deeply entrenched in the Maranello ecosystem. His place in the hierarchy isn't just respected, it's foundational. And now, with Hamilton trying to insert himself at the decision-making level, Leclerc's camp reportedly sees not collaboration, but intrusion. This quiet friction has been manifesting in subtle ways. Team sources say the camaraderie between the two drivers is minimal. No shared track walks, no overlapping debriefs, and a noticeable divide during engineering meetings. The garage might appear unified on camera, but beneath the surface, the political fault lines are hardening. This isn't just about race day pace. It's about control. A moment at Spa crystallized this divide. During the race, Hamilton calmly radioed in about a breaking discrepancy. His message, clear and specific, was met with silence. No follow-up, no adjustment. Leclerc, on the other hand, reported a stability issue during FP2, and within minutes, mechanics were under the car making physical changes. His feedback translated into tangible setup modifications that immediately improved his performance. This isn't necessarily bias in the traditional sense. It's cultural. Ferrari has spent years building processes around Leclerc. His feedback is familiar, his language internalized. For Hamilton, a newcomer, even with all his accolades, the system doesn't yet respond in kind. His words still need translation. This challenge becomes more significant in the context of the 2026 regulations. Ferrari's success won't just depend on the hardware. It'll hinge on whose voice is heard loudest in the data room. And here enters a quiet but pivotal figure, Matteo Fiorentini. Officially a power unit performance analyst, Fiorentini is one of the most influential voices inside Ferrari when it comes to interpreting data and guiding development decisions. He rarely appears in public and doesn't speak to press, but internally, his word carries enormous weight. Gualtieri listens to him closely, especially when data and driver feedback are at odds. Hamilton knows this. Following an incident earlier this season at Barcelona, where his engine mapping was suddenly adjusted mid-race, it was reportedly Fiorentini who spotted the anomaly and initiated the change. Hamilton didn't forget. Ahead of his Maranello meeting, he specifically asked for Fiorentini to be present. That's a loaded request. If Fiorentini begins to seriously consider Hamilton's observations and channels them into development decisions, the entire technical balance within Ferrari could shift. Leclerc's long-established influence could begin to erode, not by public confrontation, but through subtle shifts in internal workflows. This power play has already shown early signs. After Spa, both drivers were assigned identical power unit simulation programs in preparation for Hungary. These sessions generate massive data logs. But when internal summaries were distributed, one detail was missing from Hamilton's file: a validation line regarding load sync at throttle blip entry, a seemingly minor technical marker that governs torque delivery during downshifts. In practice, without this line validated, engineers are limited in how much they can alter engine maps based on driver feedback. Leclerc's summary, in contrast, had the line green-lit. His input had already been baked into the next run. Hamilton noticed. He didn't accuse anyone directly. Instead, during a quiet meeting, he asked one question. Was Matteo in that session? It wasn't the words. It was the implication. Everyone understood. That small omission started whispers, not of sabotage, but of preference, of system inertia favoring the known quantity. This slow-burn political and technical duel now defined Ferrari's internal climate. As the Hungarian GP approached, the surface tension in the garage masked growing division. Team procedures have subtly changed. Engineering briefings are happening separately. Data delivery is uneven. And Hamilton, characteristically methodical, has started asking not just for reports, but for raw data. He's bypassing the summaries, the filtered views. He wants access to the engine's source code. He's positioning himself not just as a driver, but as an architect. Leclerc, meanwhile, appears calm, maybe too calm. His responses are polished, confident. We know what we're working with, he says. But those close to the situation sense the subtext, a reminder that the system is already his. Ferrari's engineering structure has long been calibrated to his rhythm, his vocabulary. He doesn't need to push for influence. It's already embedded. But Hamilton is undeterred. He's been here before, at Mercedes. During the lead-up to the 2022 rule changes, he quietly worked behind the scenes with hybrid engineers, helping shape long-term strategies. Those efforts paid off. He's using a similar playbook now. The difference is, Ferrari's culture is more rigid, more traditional. Change doesn't come easily in Maranello. Whether Gualtieri is open to this change remains uncertain. He's regarded internally as a traditionalist, rooted in Ferrari's legacy, methodical, and loyal to long-standing processes. Hamilton's attempt to inject himself into that space is as much a political maneuver as it is technical. And for the existing hierarchy, those aligned with Leclerc and the old guard, it's being seen as a challenge, possibly even a threat. The result? A delicate, high-stakes stalemate. Ferrari can't afford another misstep in 2026. The incoming power unit regulations represent a total reset, an opportunity to leap ahead or fall catastrophically behind. Hamilton knows this. He sees this moment as Ferrari's make-or-break inflection point, and he wants to be the voice guiding them through it. But influence inside Maranello isn't given. It's earned or taken. If Hamilton continues to face resistance, if his data continues to be sidelined or delayed, those close to him suggest he may go public. Not with outbursts, but with facts, with evidence. Ferrari's internal handling of engine data, response priorities, and development direction could suddenly become a very public conversation. And that would force Maranello to confront not just a technical challenge, but a cultural one. Inside Ferrari's Maranello headquarters, a quiet power struggle is unfolding, one that could redefine the team's direction far beyond the current season, as the 2026 regulation overhaul approaches. While the public eye remained fixed on the Hungarian Grand Prix, the real action was happening far from the track. At the center of this unfolding drama is Lewis Hamilton, a 7-time world champion, and his subtle yet firm maneuvering to embed himself into the technical and cultural fabric of Ferrari's most sacred inner workings. Only days before Hungary, Hamilton requested a private, high-level meeting with Enrico Gualtieri, Ferrari's long-serving power unit technical director. This wasn't a typical driver briefing or polite sit-down. It was, according to sources, a calculated initiative. Hamilton approached Gualtieri not as a driver asking about weekend performance, but as a veteran demanding strategic involvement. He wasn't content to merely pilot what he's given. He wanted to understand and help shape the future Ferrari engine philosophy. The urgency behind the move stemmed from Spa. Starting from the pit lane, Hamilton reported inconsistencies in torque delivery mid-corner, what he described as a drift and throw feeling. But it was a quiet comment that never aired. The car feels filtered. That struck a deeper nerve. That wasn't just about performance. It hinted at mistrust. Post-race, Hamilton spent hours analyzing data, comparing his telemetry against Charles Leclerc's. Sources say he uncovered enough disparity in engine mapping and deployment profiles to raise serious internal questions about Ferrari's update policies and operational transparency. This led directly to the Maranello meeting. But for Hamilton, it's not just about getting equal treatment. It's about rewriting Ferrari's internal rulebook. With 2026 looming, he knows the power unit reset is Ferrari's most significant opportunity in a decade. He wants to shape it. Leclerc, Ferrari's long-established lead figure, responded with a smile and 2 words. It's normal. But observers caught the deeper meaning. Leclerc has grown up within Ferrari's walls. His voice has shaped the team's direction for years. And now, Hamilton's push into that territory is being perceived less as collaboration, more as a territorial challenge. Subtle indicators are everywhere. Separate debriefs. Fewer shared engineering discussions. At Spa, Leclerc gave feedback, and within minutes, the team acted. When Hamilton delivered precise technical input during the race, the reply was silence. Analysts say it's not overt favoritism, but deeply ingrained institutional habits. Ferrari's engineering reflexes are wired around Leclerc. That brings us to Matteo Fiorentini, the data analyst whose influence surpasses his job title. A quiet operator, he reviews and validates telemetry lines that can shape car behavior. Hamilton knows Fiorentini's role. After a mysterious mid-race engine mapping tweak in Barcelona, traced back to Fiorentini's call, Hamilton made sure he was included in the Maranello meeting. It was a statement. Influence the influencer. And now, the battleground is expanding. Simulation logs for Hungary revealed a subtle omission in Hamilton's file. A missing validation of throttle blip load sync, a critical parameter for turn-in torque balance. That single absent line halted a potential mapping update Hamilton requested. Leclerc's file had it greenlit. Hamilton's response? A quiet question in briefing. Was Matteo in that session? So as Hungary looms, FP1 just over the horizon, the battle inside Ferrari isn't about lap times. It's about who gets to steer the future. Hamilton has made his move. Quiet, strategic, determined. Leclerc, equally calm, is standing his ground. And everyone in red knows. This isn't just about who drives faster on Sunday. It's about who controls Ferrari's destiny as the sport accelerates toward its next great transformation.